evening and welcome to KLCMJ News at 5. I am Maddie Fong and I bring you the breaking news on our new Emergency Quota Act. This act, also known as the Emergency Immigration Act, has just been approved and signed. This act limits the number of immigrants each year allowed into the United States to 3% of the number of residents from that same country who lived in the United States based on the 1910's census. This number lowered the number of European immigrants by 75%. This act has been passed to temporarily lower the number of immigrants into the United States. This act has affected thousands of people around the globe, but let us take a closer look by interviewing one of our fellow Americans. Let's give a warm welcome to Kaylee Barnes. So Kaylee, what are your opinions on the act in general?
I love the act because it releases the negative wage effects to native-born Americans.
How long have you been waiting for an act like the Emergency Quota Act to pass?
A while. This is not the first time that the problem has been addressed.
What do you fear most about the immigrants and what they bring to our country and its culture?
I fear their communist and anti-government ideas may become toxic in our society.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Kaylee.
Thank you for having me.
And now for news on the Teapot Dome scandal with Carly Bell.
President Harding's cabinet member resigns. Secretary Albert Fall of the U.S. Department of Interior resigned yesterday due to the Teapot Dome scandal. So a little bit of background on Fall. He was a well-respected businessman and won a seat in the U.S. Senate for New Mexico. Using his new power, he became an ally of President Harding, who appointed him to his secretary position. Fall set aside a large oil deposit in Wyoming known as the Teapot Dome, hence the Teapot Dome scandal. He began to exploit the oil reserve to big Western oilmen. When this got out into the public, he simply said that he signed the leases with the oilmen for the best interests of the public. Not long after that, his investments collapsed and he began to go bankrupt. Then Fall had no money and accepted loans of $400,000 from the oilmen that he signed leases with to tap into the Teapot Dome. But he insisted that the loans had nothing to do with the Teapot Dome. So Fall was busted just a few days ago and resigned yesterday out of embarrassment. We will have more on this matter soon, and now for a short commercial.
Do your hot dogs feel like they're missing something?
Do your hamburgers feel a little dry?
Do your french fries taste a little bland?
Well, then Heinz tomato ketchup is the perfect solution. Especially now, since it's free from artificial preservatives. Buy Heinz tomato ketchup to complete every meal perfectly. Hi, and welcome back. The Fordney-McCumber tariff of 1922 has had a huge impact on our society over the past couple of years. This tariff's initial purpose was to protect factories and farms by promoting foreign trade through providing huge loans to Europe, which in turn bought more American goods. This tariff has also increased tariff rates on chemical and metal products as a safeguard against the revival of the German industries, which had dominated these sections of the international economy prior to the outbreak of hostilities in Europe in 1914. This has recently become apparent in the European countries whom are in debt to the United States and are having difficulties exporting goods, and therefore they are having trouble earning dollars to serve their war debts. Many experts are betting that if something does not change soon, an economic crisis may be in the forecast. And here's Lisa with the latest on airplanes.
Charles A. Lindbergh has officially become the first man to ever cross the Atlantic by himself in an airplane. On May 20th, 1927, he took flight on a specifically manufactured plane that he named the Spirit of St. Louis. Lindbergh took off at around 8 a.m. from New York City and landed near Paris at around 10:30 p.m. the next day. Thousands of people from all over the land gathered to greet him in his landing. He flew for more than 3,600 miles in 33 and a half hours. The success of Lindbergh's flight makes the airplane one of the most important inventions of the 1920s. He even wrote a book called We that tells us about his transatlantic flight. Captain Lindbergh is here with us today. Let's give him a warm welcome. Congratulations, Captain Lindbergh.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
So tell us, when did you first become involved in the airplane industry?
Well, when I was 18, I enrolled in the University of Wisconsin, and then I decided 2 years later that I wanted a more exciting career, so I dropped out of school and decided to become a barnstormer, which is a pilot who performs daredevil stunts at fairs.
So what made you want to fly across the Atlantic?
Well, whenever I heard about the Orteig Prize of $25,000, I was determined to fly from New York to Paris.
We've had many people asking about your book. Where did the title We come from?
We refers to myself and the plane.
And what a great book it is. It's been a great pleasure talking with you, Captain Lindbergh.
Yo,
Congratulations again.
thank you.
Try our authentic log cabin syrup.
Created by grocer Patrick J. Towell.
In honor of our 16th President Abraham Lincoln.
Who lived in a log cabin.
Everyone in the family will enjoy log cabin syrup.
And that's a guarantee.
Welcome back from that short break. I'm Kaylee, here to give you the conclusion of the trial of Sacco and Vanzetti. It was on April 15th of 1920 that these two men gunned down Baradelli and Parmenter over money. The jury found the two men guilty of these murders. Their defense attorneys are determined to win the appeal while the prosecutors are happy with the outcome. The two men are saying that they are more than innocent, but obviously the jury thinks not. We will have more on their story and their sentences when that trial concludes. Until then, here is Jordan with bootlegging and the violations of prohibition.
Because bootlegging has become a major problem, the prohibition movement has been created. It is designed to reduce drinking by eliminating the businesses that manufacture, distribute, and sell alcoholic beverages. Bootlegging originated during the Civil War when soldiers would sneak liquor into army camps by hiding them in their boots. Due to this scam getting out of control, the prohibition was established to control the alcohol consumption. The prohibition has taken away license to do business from brewers and distillers. The goal is to eventually persuade Americans to give up drinking. And now we switched gears to sports, football, and fashion. Jazz music is becoming more and more present in public dance halls, clubs, and tea rooms that have opened across town. A few years earlier, jazz was considered the devil's music by diverse segments of the American public. It is now slowly being accepted. Many things did more to popularize the idea of this music. For example, the song Alexander's Ragtime Band from Berlin helped out the jazz music theme. The lyrics from this song described the jazz music theme to a T. Paul Whiteman, also known as the Jazz King, said jazz was a genuine musical force. And with that, we move on to Kaylee with women's fashion.
The 19th Amendment has been passed to grant women suffrage. Women have adopted new fashion standards and have been wearing some clothing that is less than revealing. The young women that are adapting to the new look are called flappers. These young women are beginning to pop up all over the country. They are vibrant young women and quickly changing with the new style. That is all for today on KLCMJ News at 5. Tune in tomorrow for more. Goodbye and have a great night.
Jazz music is becoming more and more present in public dance halls, clubs, and tea rooms that have opened across town. A few years earlier, jazz was considered the devil's music by diverse segments of the American public. It is now slowly being accepted. Many things did more to popularize the idea of this music. For example, the song Alexander's Ragtime Band from Berlin helped out the jazz music scene. The lyrics from this song describe the jazz music theme to a T. Paul Whiteman, also known as the Jazz King, said, "Jazz was as..." Oh, shoot.
I feel like we should have started.
Good evening and welcome to KLCMJ News at 5. I am Maddie Fong and I bring you the breaking news on our new Emergency Quota Act. This act, also known as the Emergency Immigration Act, has just been approved and signed. This act limits the number of immigrants each year allowed into the United States to 3%. Okay, we're going to start. Go.
The 19th Amendment has been passed to grant women suffrage. Women has...
Do your hot dogs feel like they're missing something?
Do your hamburgers feel a little dry?
Do those French fries taste a little bland?
Well, then Heinz ketchup is the perfect solution.
Especially now, since it's free from artificial preservatives. Buy Heinz tomato ketchup to complete every meal perfectly.
No, we gotta do.
Do your hot dogs feel like they're missing something?
Do your hamburgers feel a little dry?
Do your French fries